What is symmetry? What's that word mean?
Similar, like having when you can split something in half and it's equal on both sides.
Yeah, that's the gist of this lesson.
I was close.
Okay?
Yeah.
The way you're going to figure out if a function is even is you're going to look at the graph and see if it's the same on the left and right hand side. So with that being said, do you think this is an even function? Yes, because the middle line we're talking about is the y-axis. Whoops, that's not a perfect line. And so on the left and right, it's exactly the same. This is basically what we're getting to. You get the same f of x value for negative x, meaning left of the graph, as you do for positive x. In other words, I'll go back to that in a second, but in other words, if you plug in negative 2, you get 1. If you plug in positive 2, you also get 1. We've already learned what an even function is, so it makes sense because we proved that in order to be even, f of negative x has to be equal to f of x. But the graph is easier. You're just looking for that symmetry. Okay? Now you don't have to write this down. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. And this is going to take me a while to make sure everything. So because the f of x values will be the same for both negative x and x, that means they will be the same on the left and the right. So therefore, in order for be even, it has to be symmetrical about the y-axis. Let's do some examples. Okay? In fact, guys, this is so easy, I don't think you really need to take any more notes beyond that. Just make sure it's symmetrical about the y-axis. Only on the y-axis. That's a good question. He's saying, what if it's symmetrical about another vertical line that happens to not be on the y-axis? It won't be even. Okay? Has to be right on the y-axis. So is this an even function? Well, we already determined that, right?
Yeah.
So yes, this one is. The way you can do this, though, if you get confused, draw a dotted line on the y-axis and then just see, are they the same on both sides? Yeah.
So if it's not on the y-axis exactly, does that mean it's not an even root function?
Yeah, it's not an even function, yeah.
So even if it was on 1, it's still perfectly symmetrical on both sides of 1, it's still not?
Correct.
Okay, so only go off of the y-axis.
It only goes off of the y-axis. Great question. Okay, so the answer is yes, it's an even function because, and you guys do need to remember this. What makes it even is this, okay? The fact that f of negative x equals f of x. And the reason it is because it's symmetrical about the y-axis. Example 2. Have to be the same on the left and right. Yep. If it's not, it won't be. Example 2. Hey. Let's take a look at this graph and see if it's even. Let's get the whole class involved. Do you think it's even or not?
Ooh, no.
Yes.
No, it's not.
It's not, because if you're thinking about this line down the middle, on the left it goes down and on the right it goes up. Okay?
So it's symmetrical at a certain degree, but not that.
It's symmetrical about some other line, but not that line. Okay?
So you'd have to be getting.
So let me draw you what would be symmetrical. If it went like this, that would be even. Okay? But because it goes down and up, okay, it's not symmetrical, so the answer is going to be no. Okay, let's do some more. Even or not?
Even.
It is even, okay? It's a weird graph. We've actually seen this one before, but on the left and right, there is no difference. In other words, if you folded it, if it was a piece of paper and you folded it, it would overlap each other perfectly. So the answer is yes, it is. It's perfectly symmetrical. Okay, we're going to be doing odd today as well. Odd's a little bit more difficult, but it's not too hard. last one, example 4. Now, guys, be very careful with this one. That's all I'm going to say. This gets people every time.
Oh, no.
This actually brings up the question you guys asked. Okay, is there some sort of symmetry here?
Yeah, -0.5.
So the symmetry occurs at this line. Whoops, why didn't that work? This line right here, which is not on the y-axis, right? It has to be symmetrically right on the y-axis. So the answer for this one's going to be no, for that simple reason. Almost only counts in horseshoes. You ever heard that? And hand grenades, yes. Okay, so that's it for even. Now let's take a look at odd. Odd, you can write the steps down. You don't have to redraw the graphs or anything.